Turkey and Germany's relations take another plunge as a top-level delegation from Berlin is prevented from visiting a shared airbase. A major new protest against controversial labour reform is underway in Paris as unions turn out en masse to oppose the deeply divisive law being pushed through by the government. And the people of Britain are deciding whether they want to stay or quit the European Union. Good afternoon from very sunny Moscow. You're watching RT International. I'm Daniel Hawkins, just gone 5 p.m. here in the Russian capital. Our top story today, a political scandal and a diplomatic slap. German media isn't mincing its words towards Turkey right now. Ankara has blocked a delegation headed by Berlin's Deputy Defense Minister from visiting an airbase in Turkey, which is a key facility in strikes against ISIL. The result is a hostile verbal exchange between both countries.
Visits by non-military delegations, especially politicians, to the Incirlik airbase are not seen as appropriate.
Irresponsible behavior towards a NATO partner. There's a need for an alternative base.
If it stays that way, federal government should not be allowed to spend millions of taxpayers' money on investments in this base.
Erdogan humiliates Merkel. EU-Turkey deal finished. Pull the German military out. Put a travel ban on terrorists, Godfather Erdogan.
Well, our correspondent in Berlin, Peter Oliver, explains what might be behind Turkey's latest snub.
The base itself in southern Turkey is used mostly by the Turkish and US air forces. However, there are 250 German troops stationed there, along with a consignment of Tornado reconnaissance jets and a refueling plane as well. It's all part of the US-led anti-ISIL campaign. And the delegation that was going to be headed up by the Deputy Defense Minister of Germany was going to be addressing those troops and dealing with their role in that fight. Now, the Defense Ministry here in Berlin have confirmed that so far the travel plans haven't been arranged, haven't been sorted out with Turkey. Well, from the Turkish side, they're saying that visits to this base by non-military personnel aren't appropriate, which does seem, well, a little strange considering that although a politician, the Deputy Defence Minister is a senior member and a main part of the Defence Ministry of Germany. He's a key part of the military. The media here in Germany have said this is all down to the recent vote in the German parliament to recognise the Armenian genocide by Ottoman Turks just over 100 years ago at the beginning of the 20th century.
The Bundestag reached a sovereign decision that must be respected.
Do we have a so-called Armenian genocide problem? We have no such problem. We're comfortable on this issue.
There have been numerous threats, especially against MPs with a Turkish background, including death threats.
The German lower house of parliament has approved a resolution.
The overwhelming majority of MPs voted in favour of the resolution.
The decision taken by the German parliament will in fact seriously harm German-Turkish relations.
Following these developments, we called our ambassador back to Turkey for consultations.
First you burn the Jews in ovens and then you come and accuse the Turkish people of genocide.
Germany and Turkey have so much in common. Regardless of the differences of opinion on a particular question, the scope of our relationship, of our friendship and strategic alliance is very substantial.
Well, we can cross live now to Michael Opraskalski, who's a journalist and an expert on international affairs for Geheim magazine. Michael, thanks for joining us on RT International. The German media is pretty furious, isn't it? It's branded this whole event a political scandal and a diplomatic spat. So are things really as bad as they make out?
First of all, I think you're right. It's a scandal. It's a serious scandal. But, you know, we have to be realistic. There's no African saying. The Africans say, what is going to happen when a mouse tries to pee against an elephant? So what I want to say is that the whole thing is not just the scandal. The whole thing is a numerous line of scandals that the Erdogan regime is organizing against Germany and other European partners. Like, for example, that some Syrians who had received visas to come to Germany, the Turkish refuse an exit permit to go because they say they have not been cleared. What does it mean? Then there are the threats against parliamentarians, German parliamentarians with Turkish origin, and these threats are not coming from anonymous, some of them are anonymous, but from sources close to a official pro-Turkish Federation of Turkish people here in Germany. It is run by the Turkish state, is financed by the Turkish state, and even the mullahs of this federation are paid and directed by the Turkish state and close to the AKP, the ruling party.
And of course, Turkey's mentioned that all non-military visits to this base are inappropriate. They only allow military personnel, technical personnel, but the Deputy Defence Minister, that's one of the top German military officials, and he's not being allowed to visit his own soldiers.
That's one thing, and the other thing is that there's an agreement between Turkey and the German government that there should be regular visits from Germany, not only from military personnel, but also the politicians who oversee the military, or shall oversee the military in Germany, to the base in Turkey. And this was agreed some time ago by the Turkish government. So it's even a clear break. It's a clear provocation.
And our correspondent Peter mentioned earlier the decision comes just a few weeks after that resolution on recognizing the genocide, the Armenian massacre of 1915, as a genocide. How much are those two events linked, in your opinion?
I really do not think so, because this resolution didn't come out of thin air. It was clear for months, even 1 or 2 years, that this resolution is going to come, that the majority of parties and parliamentarians are going to support it, etc., etc. And there were many, many possibilities between the German government and parliamentarians and institutions to discuss the issue seriously with the Turkish regime, but it never materialized. So I think, and I'm convinced, that this so-called scandal, what Erdogan says, is used for his own political aims and to bolster his internal ruling system against more and more critics, and actually it is heading up in Turkey towards a atmosphere of close to be some kind of civil war. So they need this kind of Erdogan, who is really a self-proclaimed sultan, thinks that he needs this kind of provocations to be stronger internally.
Okay, Michael Opraskalski, journalist and expert on international affairs, Geheim magazine. Thank you for joining us on RT International today.
Bye.